Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, hello, and welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast for your Monday. Virginia is back with us. After having the funk on Friday.
Yes, I am not 100%, but I am less funky.
Oh, is that what they call the lies? Funk now?
Where do you think I was, asshole?
I'm just saying I have a job as a journalist. The JMZ story of Pink Lies, part 1 and now part 2 is an ongoing investigation.
Yeah, Virginia sent us some photos of her laid up in her
Photos.
room.
That's what? No, we call that an alibi. She's sending them.
You can take my phone and you can look on my Life 360. I was in my crib from Thursday to this morning. I never left my house.
Okay.
I was in the yard, but that's it. I never left my house. And that never happens.
Yeah,
I'm always out.
She has a lot of energy, this one.
she does.
Right now, I'm on emergency, Sudafed, cup of coffee, Gatorade. I got all kind of stuff in me. Just trying to.
Cav. I got Kahlua.
I don't have any alcohol.
That's the problem.
I didn't have any alcohol all weekend.
Oh,
What?
We are so fucked.
What?
We are so fucked.
I didn't drink a sip.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, you're not fucked. I am. Because I'll be around her when she's drunk. You won't be. And it's going to be a volcano.
Got to double up this weekend, right? It's only fair.
I mean, I'm going to a wedding on Saturday night.
Oh, that poor wedding.
Oh, boy.
That wedding has no idea what it's about to get. The Raging Cajun Gremlin is in the house.
Cat 5, bitches.
Yep. There
Look
it
out.
is.
Look out. Okay, we've got some emails here today. Therese in Pompano got a little call them out today. Said I need to call out all the people who are shaming West Coast residents for not evacuating. Not those who chose not to evacuate, but those who were unable to. To evacuate, you have to figure out where to go and how to get there. Can you even afford the gas or lodging to stay when you get there? A last-minute plane ticket if you don't own a vehicle or are elderly. Many people don't have family down here to stay with. And Bird's house is only so big. There's only 2 main roads, north and south. Ask those people who died in the 1935 Keys storm how well that went when they got washed away in their cars trying to leave. Let's say you do get out. Now you're stuck in God knows where for how long? And can you afford that? And how will you get back to work? Times are tough. People are broke. And everyone is squirrely. Let's judge less and help more. So
I agree with that email. Part of in my opinion, the flaw of the human condition is we judge a lot of things we don't understand. That's what we all do. We judge things harshly, and we don't know people's situation. Usually on most things in life, you don't know all the details on something.
yeah,
Absolutely. But I would just say this to anybody in one of those evacuation mandatory areas. You can go to a shelter, too. I totally get not having money for a hotel or a plane ticket or all that stuff. But if the choice is stay in your place that's guaranteed to have 8 feet of water in it or go to a shelter locally, I mean, I would always pick shelter.
Hearing some of the interviews that I did, there were just a lot of people that I think were caught off guard.
Yes, that's
by
true.
it because, and this is where the finger pointing is already going on, that the officials, whomever that might be, and they're going all the way from local law enforcement to weather people to our governor,
Oh, boy.
did not call it right and gave a false sense to people in an area that the storm was going to go to Tampa, because it did kind of waffle back and forth. They said at one point it looked like it was heading straight for Tampa, not really even going to affect us at all. And then all of a sudden it does a right turn and slams into us. And so there were people that were caught off guard who said, if we would have known that this was coming here with the wall of water that was going to be in front of it from the storm surge, we would have gotten the hell out. There was one guy that was on his boat, and he said, man, I realized my boat started to sink. And so he was boat hopping, jumping
other boats
from one boat to the next, just trying to land it, and finally got to one boat that was closest to the dock and went in there and hunkered down for 12 hours and said the whole time, I'm just hoping this thing doesn't sink, and I didn't know. I mean, that's just insane what some of the people went through who, thought, we'll get a little bit, but not this.
Sure.
And that's the thing about the hurricane predictor. They don't know where it's going to go. So you got to watch it every day, every hour, and you got to be prepared if it's anywhere close to you that it can come right for you. They always be on the TV saying, here's the cone, here's the cone. Well, no, that cone's not necessarily right.
People have to understand that no matter how much a human can predict where the hurricane's going to go, Mother Nature's going to do its own fucking thing. There's nothing will never, ever, ever be smarter than Mother Nature. It's impossible.
It usually doesn't go where the cone says it's going to go, like 7 days out. They have like 7 days out, 5 days out, they have this cone. They don't freaking know. There's no way you can tell where a hurricane is going to go 5 days out.
Just as soon as you think you got it figured out, it throws a curveball at you to say, we don't have this thing figured out.
You just can't believe anybody that tells you they know where it's going, because they were saying, Tampa, 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 coming for Tampa.
I'm also not a fan of look, I get how everybody's got an opinion and you could do things differently in retrospect. If someone's got a fucking destroyed house and they can't find their pets and they're down and out, it's the wrong time to say, y'all should have left. You know what I mean? I think it's understood at that point,
Yeah, I think they know they should have left.
At that point, you're throwing salt in a very painful wound.
But instead of yelling at them and saying, y'all should have left, just put it in the back of your head and remember, okay, if this comes from my area and I'm in an evacuation zone, I don't want to be like them.
Well, it's like if you tell your friend, well, I have lung cancer. Well, I should have stopped smoking. Well, motherfucker, wrong time to judge me. How about a little fucking humanity?
They say 10,000 people are in shelters and 10,000 more remain unaccounted for.
Oh, boy.
So my question, how many people can these shelters hold to that point? If everybody who should have gone to a shelter went to a shelter, would the shelter have had enough room? Because you could argue that every single person in that population should have been in a shelter. I think the population of Sanibel's 6,000. So if every person there went...
A lot of those people have means to evacuate and not have to go to a shelter. Shelters really should be reserved for people that don't have means, don't have transportation, don't have a way to get to a hotel in a different area like Miami or something.
But some people don't have a lot of money that does have a house. They also have pets you got to think about. Those, for some people, that's their kid, you know?
And a lot of those shelters now take pets too, because and Governor DeSantis was saying that.
What a fucking nightmare that'd be.
The hotels and shelters are required to accept you and your pet. Mm-hmm. And they have specific shelter designations for ones with pets, but every hotel is required by the governor to accept people and their pets during a mandatory evacuation.
Yeah, I think we're at a place after this storm where a lot of Floridians will look at future storms differently and say, hey, just remember what happened in Hurricane Ian, that thing can switch gears right at the last second and come at a different speed and in a different direction.
Erica C. in the chat room has a good point, and if you do kind of go with this, if you are within a couple 100 miles of the direct hit, just be ready, because she could wobble this way, she could fucking wobble that way.
And they usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hurricanes are wobbling bitches.
Yeah. So it is a lot of, you're right, you can look back and now everybody's got it all figured out.
Oh, everyone's such a fucking expert on social media. It's so annoying.
Don't look back and criticize people. Just look back and learn from people and learn from the mistake that maybe some of them are saying they wish they would have left. And you don't have to yell at them and say, yeah, you should have left. You can just say, you know what? If I'm faced with the same circumstance as them, maybe I will decide to move my family inland and go to a shelter or go to a hotel hotel, or go to a friend's house that lives in Miami or in Vero, or, there's places you can go that are less likely to be hit.
Nobody likes a fucking know-it-all during times of despair. They just don't. I'm sorry. If you're in any situation,
Don't be mean to people that are already like struggling and hurting.
Yeah.
That ain't cool.
Fuck social media.
Yeah, fuck TikTok.
No, I go after TikTok. It's all social media. It's hell in a handbasket is what's happening.
Well, we're trying to put together all of our relief efforts of what we're going to do. And our phase one right now is just trying to get some means to the people that are the first responders going in to try to get people out of harm's way. And Hubbard Help Southwest Florida is something we have right now in connection with the Red Cross, where you can go to kvjshow.com where you can get some funds to them, or you can text disaster to 20222. You can visit floridadisasterfund.org, and if you want to volunteer, go floridadisaster.org. Eventually, our plans, I have already talked to our management about trying to get the KVJ Volunteer Army over there, where we could hopefully meet up with people who said, hey, I'm going to take this weekend or this day. Luckily, it's so close. You could go over and back, really, in the same day.
Totally.
We did that back in the day. We came up and back from, was it?
Punta Gorda.
Yes.
In Hurricane Charlie, we brought supplies over there. That's when Jason was all pissed because I brought that crab meat and we were eating it in the cab of the truck.
I was driving the station vehicle that was 9,000 feet long, and it was not an easy ride. And then my friend over here, Aquatic Adam, buys the biggest fucking bag of crawfish I've ever seen.
It was crab meat.
Or whatever. It was all, and she was eating it. You know how she makes those
I enjoy my food. You're one to make some fun of nummy noises.
That's why I don't eat in front of people. That's why I don't. That's why you won't see me eating a bag full of.
I've seen you eat.
Whatever. I'm a way better of an eater than you when it comes to manners.
Yeah.
It's Kevin stuck with me, and it was category 5 disgusting.
Category 5 gross.
Yes, it really was.
Yeah, we'll try not to get you in a truck with imitation crab meat again.
And it was during the time where that's the therapy time where Mariana was on the show, and everything was. It was an awkward ride. It was.
You had a cat 5 storm in your life.
Oh, at least it wasn't a long ride for an awkward fucking experience.
Yeah.
12 hours in a car with somebody.
Well, if we go to Southwest Florida, guess what I'm bringing?
Crab meat.
Imitation crab meat.
And guess what I'm bringing? Mariana.
That's how you combat it.
Damn. Checkmate.
I got my crab meat. Well, I got Mariana.
I would not. I don't want to be a part of any of that.
You sit right in between them?
Not again.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a fun trip.
I'm not going.
Yeah. So we'll try to get it all together, but just to compare the two, because Charlie was back in 2004. That's when that was all going down.
Damn, that's so long ago.
Yeah, but they're expecting this with Hurricane Ian to be a lot more devastating. They're going anywhere from $63 to $100 billion right now.
Whoa.
They're guessing in damages. It would make Hurricane Ian at least the 4th costliest hurricane in U.S. history. Now, the difference between the two, Charlie moved quickly and packed hurricane force winds that went 50 miles and tropical storm force winds that went 170. Compare that to Ian that had 90 miles of the hurricane force winds and then 350 miles of tropical storm force winds.
It was just the most massive hurricane I can remember ever looking at that was on top of us. Like, how? How is it so much bigger?
I think what's going on is there's just something, the Gulf. Things are going on in the Gulf where they say the rapid intensification of storms is happening a lot faster. And don't snooze on it, because you see a storm by Cuba and it's a tropical storm, that thing could be a 5 in 48 hours.
If this was a horror movie or a sci-fi movie, the reason why the water is getting so hot and things have changed, it's because the aliens are down there and they're preparing to organize.
Yep.
Is this thing on? Fuck y'all. I'm singing for my supper, damn it. I'm trying to expand my mind.
We need to get you some vocal
Get
lessons.
the fuck out of here. Whatever. Fake ass sick.
come over here and tongue kiss me. Let's see how fake
All
ass
right.
it is.
All right.
Oh, you'll be sick, and you wouldn't be able to handle this sick.
Yeah.
You old pussy, you'd be out for a week. Be like Suits, all pussied.
Both of y'all fucking. Suze goes on a cruise. God knows what Virginia was doing. Polishing her broom.
Yeah.
I check my GPS, bitch.
I don't want to check nothing of yours.
I was in my house. I wasn't like Suits on a cruise.
I get the most turn at my house. That's the best place to go sometimes.
Dude, I was sick as a bitch. I didn't have no alcohol. I didn't have no fun.
Awfully defensive, isn't she?
Look, I'm just giving you the truth, dick.
We're also kicking around the idea of maybe doing another Great 48. We'll see what we do there. I don't know if we'll do it something different with a different name. If we retire the Great 48 for Hurricane Dorian.
No, I think that's a cool name to keep.
Yeah. We did that because it worked for Dorian, which had spent 48 hours over the Bahamas, and that made sense that as long as they had to go through it, we'll go through it. But yeah, we could, keep that same time frame.
I'll break my record. I don't give a shit.
You will, huh?
I stayed up for
Great 49.
I stayed up for 52.
Yeah. Okay.
The insane 40. No, I stayed up for 52 hours straight.
Why?
Because I was so tired when we got home, I couldn't sleep. But you're coming down from being on the microphone for 52 hours. It's kind of hard just to chill after that.
Oh, I hit the pillow so hard.
I hit the booze real hard. And probably the weed. I think that was we went to the weekend on that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did a Thursday, Friday, and then we wrapped up on Friday. And I think we probably do the same because, yeah, you're going to need a couple days after that to kind of chill. You wouldn't want to do Monday, Tuesday, be like, all right, we'll see you for a regular show tomorrow.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think.
Well,
so.
we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't have a Wednesday show. And if we did, would we really want to go on the air at that point? We would be talking like mad people.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. Mm-hmm. Who knows what the hell I'd say?
Yeah.
I agree. That's when she takes us. We're trying to do something good, and then she brings us down with the crazy shit she's gonna say on the microphone after not getting sleep.
Yeah.
We can't have it.
Mm-hmm. Got an email here from Tyler. We were talking earlier, head trauma with the NFL season going on. It's been very
Yes.
topical for two stories. One is Tua Tagovailoa, and ever since he got rocked on Thursday night and slammed to the turf in the Bengals game, people were going off. Just the horrified visual of what his hands were doing as he rolled over on the turf, and man, they were just all yeet. And people were saying, my gosh, how you trotted him back out there 4 days after likely getting some kind of head trauma on Sunday in the Bills game. They were just saying it's irresponsible. People were in an outrage over it, and people, some were defending, some were in an outrage, and some people were saying, look, they apparently did tests on him. He claimed it was his back that was going on. And people like, he shook off the cobwebs in the game against the Bills, was running a little bit, stumbled, and tried to shake his head again. He didn't grab for his back. And they said that was the telltale sign. And now because of that, it looks like the NFL is going to make changes to its concussion protocol that includes not letting any player return to a game if he shows any instability. So now with the new protocols, what happened in the Bills game, that could have radically changed that game because they would have said, no, he needs to come out. I don't care if he seems to be passing a cognitive test or not. It doesn't look good, and they were so upset. And, of course, somebody's head was going to roll. And the neurotrauma consultant who cleared Tua, he'd been fired.
Oh, because people on Twitter knew more than the doctor?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. So people complain on social media. He was cleared by a doctor as an adult who makes his own decisions, made the decision to still go out there on his own, and then people are going to fire the doctor.
People were acknowledging how it was amazing that within 48 hours, people on Twitter went from expert meteorologists to expert neurologists. So it's amazing how they can just, change caps like that.
This is one of those things I'm talking about where everyone involved that's outside of the situation, they don't know every detail that's going on there. If he's been cleared and then the man says, I'm able to play.
I know, but then the man got fired after, and that makes you think, oh, did the man fudge the numbers because he knew Tua was so important?
Oh, you're saying it went dirty. The doctor's lying. Well, that's different. Now you're being
That's what a
immoral.
lot of people are saying. And then the doctor now is unemployed and not doing that.
If that's what happened, that's different than caving into social media.
I think they need to sort it out, and they need to have more stop gaps to say, hey, maybe the policy wasn't concrete enough to make sure that we're not trotting out injured players. And one of the big complaints that they have is, why would you have any team, because these players get beaten up really hard in a Sunday game, that it takes days for their body to recover. So to have them play a game on Sunday and then 4 days later you got to go get knocked around again, and they said that just exemplifies what happened to Tua. He needed more time off. If you're going to play a Thursday night game, you should have not played that Sunday before. It's just not fair for these teams. It's too much trauma on the body, all because the NFL wants to make more money with more licensing, to Amazon Prime. So they need to really reconsider that as well. And then the other story that came out was Antonio Brown. Who knows what was going on, but it was a video that had been filmed a while ago, I think back in May, and it was him at a pool. I don't know if the girl was laughing because she liked his antics or she was nervous, but at one point, apparently she was complaining to somebody. She felt uncomfortable as he was swimming around naked. He was at first kind of swimming and jumping with his ass in her face, and then from the other end of the pool, he showed his dick to her, and then apparently was saying some unsavory things, and he was being egged on by other guys at the pool, and then he spouted off on Twitter, and some people are just saying, man, he wasn't right ever since that one hit he took when he was with the Steelers from Vontaze Burfict of the Bengals. And I don't know, does it change you? Can you take a shot to the head? And that's what Tyler's saying. He said, I've had about 5 concussions, and it definitely has changed me. I need something to blame my drinking on, LOL. But somebody else had texted in and said, same thing had happened to my brother. He had a serious shot to the head, and it changed his personality. He never was the same again.
See, when I hear stuff like that, it really does make me think that there's a lot of validity to this. And I mean, yeah, Antonio Brown's acting like a maniac, but it might not be all his fault.
It's a dicey situation. I hear what everyone's saying. I just always fear people don't take responsibility for their actions. I bumped my head. Oh, that's why I committed murder. And I'm not saying that head injuries don't change people, because I believe that they can. But you see what I'm saying, right?
Aaron Hernandez. A lot of people said that whole murder thing might not have happened if he didn't have that concussion issue.
And it's such a hard argument to argue, because nobody knows. And what if he was just a dirtbag?
Right.
You know what I mean?
We don't know.
And that's what I don't like when people...
Or was he like a slight dirtbag, and then he got rocked in the noggin, and then it made him a bigger dirtbag, and then that's when he murdered?
You have to also look at other people who've had a lot of trauma. What are the numbers on that? People have had legit head trauma. What are the numbers of them becoming murderers?
And maybe
Is
it matters.
A small number?
Maybe it matters too where you hit your head. In certain spots it makes you murder, but in certain spots it just makes you dumb.
This is a lot of what is going on right now. They're trying to figure out what is causing the bad behavior in some people. It's the crux of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting trial that's going on right now, trying to say, how much is this kid accountable for this? Was it fetal alcohol syndrome? Did he have trauma as a child? And you're going to probably hear this in every single case now as they try to figure out what is going on in people's brains that make them do these inexplicable things and behave badly.
The brain is a mystery, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's many stories of somebody that was already a little off anyway, and then they get hit in the head and something happens, and that jars maybe even something. Clearly, if you're killing people, there's something wrong with you.
I guess the question is, can they someday find something in the brain and say, look, this is a person whose brain is firing this way. Now, what you do with them, I don't know.
You watch them very closely.
Yeah. Is that it? And what do you do every time that they exhibit bad behavior and intrude on somebody else's freedoms and liberties? Do you then start locking them up, putting them someplace? What is it you do, even if you can identify it?
They've done so much study on the brain, and I agree there's still always more to learn. But I mean, if you get hit in the head and you have damage, there's you can definitely change.
Yeah,
but exactly, I've been hit in the head many times.
Right. So I think it matters where and how hard and how much damage was done when the brain tissue got jacked.
Yeah,
and I think everybody's going to be different.
And the problem is right now with CTE, which is what comes from head trauma in the NFL, you can't tell until the person's dead and you do an autopsy. That's how you get a diagnosis that they definitely had CTE. There's nothing you can do right now that we have to diagnose that somebody has CTE when they're still alive.
Damn.
Because if someone's got real brain trauma, you want to understand that's what this is going on. If someone doesn't have that and they're hiding behind that, that's always my fear. And
Sure.
that's going to be the trick.
And that's what you don't know, because it is a convenient thing to hide behind.
It is.
But how many people do have legitimate squirrely behavior because of getting knocked to the noggin one time?
And what if everybody that murdered or did shady things, you can go back and pinpoint when the brain damage happened, how significant it was, and then how that came to fruition and caused them to murder?
Yeah.
I also sometimes just think people are an asshole and they treat people like shit because
I hear
A,
you.
they
I
had
hear
a bad
you.
upbringing.
But
I'm just
what
saying
if you
there's-
can bring it all back to brain trauma,
Well-
even in utero?
Well, the one thing that stands out to me is I brought it up several times now, but just to repeat it again, if anybody did miss it, the one interview that I saw with the serial killer, and they said they've identified 3 tendencies, and they've noticed that some people are born without empathy, and they're studying that a little bit more, and they can diagnose when people just don't have any empathy. And they're finding that a lot of times they don't feel pain that much themselves, so they don't sympathize pain in others.
Could that have been brought on by brain trauma?
But that,
That's something you're born with. They're not finding that, connecting that to brain trauma. They're just saying that they're noticing it's something they can see in people's DNA.
yeah, not everyone who murders has been hit in the head or has
Right,
brain issues.
right.
It's just some people, I believe, are dirtbags because of how they were raised or what else is going
Well,
on.
they're finding the 3 combinations. They can actually identify now in people's DNA if they're lacking empathy. They can also find, too, that they lack the fear of danger gene. So you see some of these daredevils sometimes, you're like, why are they that way? It's actually a lot of times a genetic thing. You know, I've got double of the pussy gene, whatever that is. But
He's got double puss.
I do, but other people, they're not scared of anything. And so what they'd found in this serial killer was the 2 gene things, and then the third was a traumatic upbringing in his childhood, is that he was never hugged, told that he was loved, all that kind of stuff. And they said the combination of the 3 has likely made you what you are.
And then you've got other cases where somebody only kills 2 people when they were younger in
Yeah.
their early 20s because they were going through kind of some weird, and then you look back in their life and there's not a lot of your childhood, my childhood was similar, and we didn't do that. So you do. Every case is different.
It is.
The perfect storm, what you're talking about, is the worst case scenario. Yeah.
So they're trying to do these things to identify troubled people in our society before we have the active shooter, the serial killer, all those stories.
But then you got someone that wants to murder for hire. You know, you're a fucking asshole if you're trying to pay somebody to go murder somebody. There's no.
And they might just have the lack of empathy. That might be their one thing. That's the telltale that they have. They might have been loved as a kid.
Or they also could just be selfish and have empathy and in the moment I don't know. I think it's a spectrum.
Well, they're trying to look into it more so that they can curb off future disasters. I don't know how they'll get there, but it starts to sound a lot like Minority Report, right? Because once you think you've diagnosed it, then what do? You impede on their civil liberties and
Right.
freedoms because
Once
you
you-
say we've identified you as a future serial killer.
You're a
or
problem.
school shooter.
We got to stop you. We got to lock you up.
Yeah.
That would be insane.
That would be insane.
Arrested for crimes you have not committed yet.
Yeah, that's Minority Report for you. They believe they've got a serial killer in Stockton, California, and they're trying to get more information on that. He seems to be killing primarily Hispanic males. A lot of them are homeless.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And you know why some people target the homeless? Because it's harder to get all the clues and kind of find out their story. A lot of times people don't even know they're missing.
They're off the grid.
They're off the grid.
Nobody's going to be looking for the homeless guy
Yeah.
who hasn't had any contact with his family in 30 years.
And I hope it's changed then, because there's reports from the 70s and 80s, especially with you have prostitutes, you have the homeless, where if there was a murdered body found or something going down, a lot of times those cases would get kind of thrown to the bottom because people didn't care. And I hope that's changed the way people attack those kind of cases in modern day times. I don't know if it has.
Yeah, they say this individual, he seems to like dark areas where you're not seeing anybody, and he's ambushing them. So he's coming out of nowhere when they're not expecting it, in dark places where the homeless might sleep for the night. They're going
Easy targets, too.
Yeah. So it's just somebody apparently has got a taste to kill. So they don't know for certain, but they believe that they've got a serial killer doing that in Stockton, California.
Where is Stockton, California?
It's kind of one of those little armpits of California.
Right next to the Pacific Ocean.
Stockton?
I'm saying.
Am I close?
I'm just saying shit. I saw you typing, dog. I was just trying to stretch for you.
I got you. Okay. I'm like,
Singing for my
that's not
supper.
where I remember Stockton to be.
I have no idea.
I'm trying to stretch with wrong ass facts.
I learned it from you.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in that armpit of California area that is not far from where I was. It is north east of San Francisco, San Jose. So you've got, Fresno, and it kind of goes on up. It's further inland. So it's just a little bit south of Sacramento.
Okay.
A little bit north of Modesto. But all those areas are,
Yeah.
And it's a little north of Los Baños. If you're paying
The
attention.
bathroom.
The bathroom, yeah. She used to always drive by that. I'm like going, I don't know a lot of Spanish, but I thought this meant bathroom.
Why would they name a town
I was
after
so
the shitter?
Every time I drove by through Los Baños, and it was a shithole, by the way. So
Why
it was
would you
properly
want to
named.
live there? It's not good for the local tourism.
Well, it wasn't a tourist town. It was a lot of people who
drive
were
through Quickly Town.
It was a lot of people that were driving through, picking strawberries, stuff like that. You would see that a good bit. You'd see a lot of vans just crammed full of Mexicans, and they would go from one job to the next up and down the San Joaquin Valley.
Picking strawberries for real?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, because the produce through there is 70% of the produce in America comes from there. And so that's where they're migrant farm workers. And so they don't really have a necessary home. They just go from job to job all the way up and down the San Joaquin Valley.
Oh, man, picking strawberries for a little bit sounds fun. For a little bit.
Yeah.
If it's nice
Doing it
out,
every day for...
I'm sure they wouldn't agree.
I said a little bit. I said a little wine buzz, pick some strawberberries, nice weather.
You need to go to Bedner's Farm Fresh Market.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I like to pick things.
You have privilege picking.
I do. I'm acknowledging it. Please don't email me because I won't read it.
I can't read it. I'm out picking strawberries.
Let me see. Other emails that we got here. We were talking about what it's like to be, and we had somebody who emailed us just talking about, okay, let's say maybe you are of a higher intelligence. What is it like to be of that ilk? And everybody you pretty much meet
is dumb.
And it's tough for you.
Well, I'll tell you, Kev.
This person said, you're asking what it's like to be something that most people can't claim. For me, it's smart. To be clear, I'm not super genius, but I am pretty smart. My IQ is somewhere in the range of 155.
It's humble bragging, motherfucker.
That's why they wanted to remain anonymous. They didn't want to get pinned to them.
It's the right move. You should not have signed it. It's good.
Instead of just not relating to people because they're not as smart as me or don't know what I know, I try to use my smarts to explain things to them. I can't expect everyone to be interested in as many things as I am or go into the detail that I like to go into. So I treat relating to people who aren't as smart or knowledgeable as an exercise to distill what I'm trying to say as concisely as possible. Albert Einstein put it best, said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
And he's quoting Einstein. Yeah.
I mean, this person sounds smart AF.
I guarantee you I know what KVJ Nationer this is. I would bet money on it.
Yeah?
I would.
Write it down.
I will.
Kevin's got the email.
I will write it down.
We won't say the name.
Nope.
Okay.
Show Kevin your guess, and we will see if you are smart or if you're just dumb like the rest of us.
Okay. Yep.
He got it?
I'm a fucking... I'll take that apology now.
Damn. You are smart.
And I'm just busting balls over here. Please don't take anything I say personal.
It does bring me to a few points of contention I hold about smarts and knowledge. One, intelligence is not memorizing a bunch of facts. Books hold facts perfectly well, but you can't hold a conversation with them. 2, intelligence is being able to manipulate information for novel or efficient purposes. And 3, nowadays, it's more important to know how to find information than it is to hold it all in your head. And that's what the internet is for. So there you go.
Okay.
So what it's like to be so intelligent.
I could have told you. All you had to do is come over here and ask.
For what?
It's rough, Kevin, to be so smart when everybody around you, especially the guy to your left, is so dumb.
That's your right, dumbass.
Well, thank you for all the emails, even the anonymous ones at mail@kvjshow.com. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.